We tend to see crises as these totally chaotic, unpredictable events. A wildfire, a power grid failure, a security threat, each one feels like its own unique monster. But what if I told you there's a single universal playbook to face them all? A core strategy that works for almost any disaster. Well, that's exactly what we're going to decode today.
So think about it for a second. A bomb threat, a massive power failure, a raging wildfire. On the surface, they seem completely different, right? Like they'd require a totally separate response. But if you look a little closer, there's a hidden connection, a fundamental thread that links every single one. What do you think it is?
The answer? It's a blueprint, a common framework for how we prepare for, respond to, and recover from pretty much any crisis you can imagine. And it all breaks down into 3 distinct phases. Let's dive into phase 1.
First up is phase 1, building your defense. Now, this is all about the work you do before a crisis ever hits. It's proactive, it's foundational, and honestly, it's the most important phase of all, because it sets the stage for how well you'll handle everything that comes next.
Effective preparation isn't just some vague idea. It really stands on these 3 solid pillars you see here. Number 1, you have to assess your specific risks. 2, you make a concrete plan based on those risks. And 3, you train your team, and that team could be your family or it could be your coworkers, so that everybody knows exactly what to do.
Let's dig into that first pillar, assessing risk. This isn't about just worrying about everything that could possibly go wrong. No, it's about getting really specific. For a big company, that might mean analyzing why they could be a target. For someone living out in a rural area, it means understanding the local fire hazards. The point is, you have to know what you're actually up against.
And this table here really shows that universal logic of planning in action. Look at the key actions. For a wildfire, you create defensible space. For a biological threat, you're planning for isolation. For a power outage, you're getting backup generators. The specific action changes, but the principle, the act of planning ahead, is exactly the same across the board.
And what's really interesting is that while your plans might be tailored to specific threats, the basic tools you need are surprisingly universal. A prep kit like this one with water, a radio, first aid, this is your foundation for surviving almost anything, from an earthquake to a long-term power outage. It's practical preparedness, plain and simple.
Okay, but no matter how much you prepare, eventually a crisis might actually hit. And that brings us to phase 2, action under pressure. The alarms are going off, it's happening right now. All that prep work is about to be put to the test. So, what do you do?
When chaos erupts, your mind can race in a million different directions. But in so many emergencies, your survival can hinge on making one of 2 fundamental choices. It's a critical fork in the road that defines your immediate response.
And here they are. Your 2 critical choices are evacuate or shelter. Do you move away from the hazard? That's what you do for a fire or an active threat. Or do you seal yourself off from the hazard? That's the right move for something like a nuclear event or a chemical spill, where the danger is actually outside. Knowing which one to do and when is absolutely vital.
In the middle of all this chaos, what's the single most important tool you have? It's not a fancy piece of gear. It's communication. Clear, calm, and accurate information is the absolute number 1 priority. It's what directs evacuations, it's what coordinates first responders, and it's what saves lives. Period. So, these are the golden rules for an effective response. And the order here is so important. You always assess the situation before you act. You use clear channels to coordinate with authorities. And above all else, you prioritize human safety and you follow the instructions you're given. This isn't just a checklist, It's the script for staying in control when everything feels like it's out of control. Now, for some of those really specific threats, we're talking nuclear, biological, or chemical events, there's another critical action you need to know about, and it's called decontamination. It sounds technical, but it's a pretty simple concept. It's just the process of getting the dangerous material off of you or out of your immediate area. It's a crucial step to stop the harm from spreading after you've been exposed.
So, you've made it through. You've survived the immediate danger. But guess what? The work isn't over, not by a long shot. That brings us to our final, crucial stage, phase 3, learning and rebuilding. This is all about the aftermath and how you make sure you come back even stronger than before.
This right here is such a critical mindset shift. The end of the emergency is actually the beginning of the recovery. This is where you switch from just responding to actively rebuilding. Not just buildings, but systems, procedures, and confidence. It's all about creating long-term resilience. And recovery itself is a cycle. You have to assess the damage, support the community, repair what's broken. But I want you to look at that yellow slice there, review and improve plan. That, right there, might be the most important part of the whole thing. Because real recovery isn't finished until you've learned the lessons that the crisis taught you, so you can feed that knowledge right back into phase 1 for next time.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? You don't just want to get back to the way things were. You want to get back to a better normal. A normal where you're more prepared, more resilient, and way less vulnerable than you were before the crisis hit.
So what does rebuilding smarter actually look like? Well, it means doing a proper post-incident review. It means investigating the root cause, what really went wrong. And then you take those hard-earned lessons and use them to update your safety protocols, your training, and your plans for the future.
So after breaking all of this down, here's the biggest takeaway. The goal isn't to just have some dusty binder on a shelf labeled emergency plan. It's to build a mindset of awareness, of preparedness, and of resilience. That, the way you think, is your real defense.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. After seeing this universal playbook, what is the one concrete step, the single most important thing you can do this week to start building your defense? Because the next crisis, it doesn't wait for you to be ready.